Stress and anxiety and depression are two of the most usual psychological health and wellness health conditions we find. This has actually to perform with how we adapt along with anxiousness and anxiety. It's more common along with bipolar and mental illness that these problems are frequently identified by mental health experts, who at that point utilize these signs and symptoms to justify their treatment. And though anxiety and anxiety are two of the very most typical mental wellness disorders we observe, we can additionally know it far better coming from their activities, and we presume they assist us to work with our state of mind swings. We may additionally comprehend it far better coming from their activities, and we assume they aid us to deal with our mood swings. And though they're frequently puzzled, they're actually different courses of problems. A typical disorder is irritable digestive tract disorder. This ailment might be an indication of clinical, hormone or developing disorders. Analysis Criteria: The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders delivers the most specific checklist of medical diagnosis. You need to always check the individual's medical background, therefore you recognize when a sickness required to be treated. For instance, jihadist occasionally recommends to a single person, but Islamist to mean lots of different nations. A whole lot of the complication controls from how they are used as words. For instance, jihadist occasionally recommends to a single person, but Islamist to indicate lots of various nations. But despite sharing some signs and symptoms, there is a considerable variation between stress and anxiety and clinical depression in the actual meaning of each problem. Signs of depression and anxiety differ widely, with the exception of sleeping disorders and anxiousness that are taken into consideration normal in clinical depression and stress and anxiety. Psychosis/depression, a details type of anxiety in which depression is discovered a lot more frequently, is identified by serious mood problems, typically gotten in touch with schizophrenia, the most renowned of those which are understood to result in most folks to possess mental illness. On a higher level, anxiety involves extreme worrying or stress and anxiety regarding the result of a scenario. The individual who has it might presume that there is actually no method for them to recognize the world without the assistance of medicine. The second factor to be recognized is how to get rid of the worry. Understanding what the person is feeling is important to being able to be distressed. The individual needs to comprehend the condition and find out if he or she has given himself up or if the individual has simply offered up. Depression, on the other hand, is a mood ailment that results in difficult emotions of sadness or spiritlessness. This has led to look into that recommends that people enduring from anxiety have a higher likelihood of material usage and that these variations are resolved straight through human brain chemistry in regular and affected people. Researchers have suggested that 1/3 of depressed individuals also possess drug make use of problems, but the degree of extent and strength of those troubles varies coming from individual to individual. We'll dive into the key variations listed below and evaluate each mental health and wellness disorder in even more particular. Theories of depression and the nature of clinical depression. Some theorize that mental sickness is a repercussion of exposure to the setting and other factors that trigger the psychological illness.